Shannon, what do you think? How did the Celtics finally seize control of the series?
Well, with the exception of Jayson Tatum, as you mentioned, everybody else looked like Spice Adams. The thing was, Skip, if you look at it, only 3 Heat players attempted free throws. Everybody shot the ball poorly. When you look at it, the Heat was 33% from the floor. The Celtics was under 40% from the floor. The Celtics were under 24% from the three. But they got to the free throw line 38 times and they made 36 of them. So when they don't turn the ball over, what we've seen, Skip, game 1 in the third quarter, the Celtics turned the ball over. The Heat seized control of the ball game. They won. In game 3, after that convincing win the Celtics had in Miami, they come out lackluster, turned the ball over 19 times. Turned the ball over 23 times, 19 of them steal. Celtics take control of the series. Last night, when the Celtics, Udoka should say, look, guys, when we don't turn the ball over, they can't beat us. Their half-court offense isn't very good. The way they've beaten us is that they've been allowed to get out in transition because we've turned the ball over. When we don't turn the ball over, they can't beat us. It's as simple as that. And that's what we saw last night, Skip. Look, I know Jimmy Butler is injured, but we've seen far too many times, Skip. This is not the first time that we've seen Jimmy Butler put up big performances, be totally healthy, and come out and give you a 14-point or a 12-point outing. So I'm not willing to say all of this is on his knee. Some of it could be, but this is what I tell guys. You're allowed to play injured. You're allowed to play hurt, but you damn sure better play well because people will not give you an excuse, Skip, of being injured or hurt if you put yourself in that position to get on the field, to get on the court. They expect you to play as if nothing's wrong because all they see is Butler on the back of that Heat jersey. So when I look at it, Skip, it's hard for me to explain it. I mean, you look up and you're down, the team is down by 20, 22, and you look up in the second quarter and they're down by 27. And you look up at a point in time in the game in the third quarter, they're down by 30. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Because I've seen this play out over the last 3 or 4 games, is that teams are getting down in quarters by 20 and 30 points. And I can't explain it. I just can't explain it. I just know the Heat shot the ball poorly last night, and the Celtics didn't bail them out. Skip, look, I don't expect P.J. Tucker to give me another 17-point, 9-rebound outing. Skip, Bam, we got to stop expecting Bam to be Jokic. Stop expecting Bam to be Joel Embiid. That's not what he is. That's not who he is. He's not a Karl Anthony Towns. He's more of a 17, 18-point, maybe a 10-rebound game. That's when things go well. But we've seen far too many of the first 2 games. We saw this. He had 16 points in the first 2 games. He exploded in the third game. So will the real Bam Adebayo, will he please step forward? Because if he doesn't play well, with Tyler Hero being out, Skip, where are they going to get the points from? So for me, I feel very comfortable in my selection. Boston in 6. As you notice, I got my green on today, so I feel very comfortable for where I'm sitting. I'm here in Baltimore, Crab Cake City, in the catbird seat.
I am green with envy. Okay, first I'm going to take care of my Miami Heat, which will win this series in 7 games. But for whatever reason, a very veteran, high-culture basketball team decided not to play last night. They decided they had stolen, literally, Game 3 on Saturday night in Boston, literally stole it with 19 steals, and they came out last night not caring a bit about winning that game. 2 minutes into the game, I'm going to read my tweet. 2 minutes in, I tweeted, "It is painfully clear the Miami Heat, up 2-1, don't care about winning this game. Every shot is afterthought tentative. It's like nobody even wanted to try to shoot." I continue with my tweet. "No hustle for loose balls. Jimmy Butler should have just rested his knees for Game 5, obviously back in Miami." Okay, that was all you needed to know about the Heat last night. But here is the silver lining, the glass half full from last night that nobody is talking about. This is why I believe that my Miami Heat will win games 5 and 7 at home because the Celtics are getting a pass because of the final score and the deluge of a deficit in the middle of this game, obviously late in the first quarter on. But, Shannon, did you notice that Jayson Tatum is back with 1 out of 7 from 3? Would you believe that Jaylen Brown is at it again with 1 out of 8 from 3? Would you believe that Derek White made all the difference in the world in the starting lineup with 1 out of 8 from 3? Would you believe that Grant Williams, that three-point bomber coming off the bench, went 1 of 5 from 3? Wait a second. Those guys add up to 4 of 26 from 3, and they still won by 20 points? That's because the Heat quit to start the game. They just flat out quit. They didn't quit for the whole game. They just quit for the first quarter. And obviously they fell woefully behind. They were down 26-4 with 2:02 left in the first quarter. 26-4. Finally, Victor Oladipo came off the bench and began to make shots. And the resounding irony, the painful irony of last night is that Victor Oladipo coming off the bench with 23 points outscored the whole starting lineup, which in the end had next to nothing. What was it? Oladipo had 23.
18.
Yeah, 18. They had 7 of 36.
Between the starters.
7 of 36 for 18 points. Oladipo had 23 coming off the bench. Okay. I believe you mentioned this or glossed over it, but Boston won the game by 20 while shooting 8 of 34 from 3. That's 23%. 23. Yeah, I'll give you 24 if you want to round up. It's 23.5.
Okay.
24%. 8 of 34. How many NBA games, three-point shooting contests that they always degenerate into, are won when the home team only shoots 23.5% from 3 and the visiting team winds up shooting 39% from 3, which is pretty good, 14 of 36. How often does that happen? Not very often, but it happened last night.
It doesn't.
But again, silver lining for me, from that mark late in the first quarter, 26-4 down, would you believe my Heat the rest of the way won the game 78-76? You can laugh at it, scoff at it, dismiss it all you want, but at least the Heat just sort of hung in and made it reasonably respectable 20-point game instead of what happened to Golden State, if you remember, in Game 5 at Memphis. Golden State, the mighty Warriors, who are about to sweep Luka and company, trailed by 55 points in that game. 55 points? And, Shannon, I know you'll remember this because you were a Larry Bird fan, but do you remember Game 1 of 1985 Finals?
The Memorial Day Massacre.
Thank you, the Memorial Day Massacre. Boston won that game, Game 1 in Boston, 148-114, and everybody said, get the Lakers out of our sight. They're done. They're going to get swept. Well, not only did they not get swept, but they bounced right back in Game 2 at Boston and won 109-102, and here they went, and they won in 6 games. So there we go. It happens, right? It can happen. It can swing wildly and dramatically and incredibly unpredictably when you least expect it, which is why I still got the Heat in 7. I still got the Heat winning Game 5, and yet Jen's question was, has Boston finally seized control of this series? And you think they have, right?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do, Skip, because I believe Boston, if you look at the games they've lost, Skip, they've averaged 20 turnovers. Miami has turned those into 26 points. If you look at the games they've won, 10.5 turnovers, Miami turned those into 8 points. If you look at the defensive end, Skip, and we know these are two good defensive teams, Miami was number 1 in the regular season. Boston was top 5. Boston has been the best playoff defense in the basketball in playoffs. But, Skip, they held them the first 10 minutes of the ball game. The Celtics had 4 points. Through 3 quarters, they had 52 points. And I get what you're saying. So for over the last 3 quarters, the Heat outscored them 78-76. But when you're down by 100, it doesn't even matter if you outscore somebody because you need to outscore them 130-76 in order for you to win the ball game. So with that being said, I've told you before, and I don't know how many times I'm going to have to reiterate this, the best player in this series is Jayson Tatum. When he takes care of the basketball, they win. It's as simple as that. Yes, everybody, look, Jaylen Brown was throwing up bricks. Everybody was throwing up bricks last night, Skip, but the difference was in the ball game is that they got to the free throw line. You get to the free throw line 38 times. You make 34 of them. That's going to offset you shooting under 24% from the three-point line. That's going to offset you shooting under 40% from the field. That's why they lost the game. They did an outstanding job. Robert Williams was throwing everything in the paint. He was throwing it out, get it out of here because of late fees. Big Al Horford, all of a sudden, Big Al getting the crowd hyped, looking like, I can't believe they tried me. Boston Celtics are on to something, Skip Bayless. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. It's inevitable. Webster defined inevitable as bound to occur, that which cannot be avoided. Celtics in 6.
Wait a second. Jayson Tatum is back at 1 of 7? Really? How do you defend 1 of 7 from 3? I can't.
You can't. But guess what? What was he from the 2-point? What was he from the? How many times did he get to the free throw line?
8 of 16. I'm impressed. Way to go, Jayson.
He was
took the game over.
He was 7 of 9 from the 2-point line. Well, tell the people at home what was he from the free throw line. Let's talk about the free throws. He got to the free throw line 16 times. With other words, he's very, very aggressive. He didn't settle. He could have kept jacking up shots and been, 7 of 25 from the field. But he said, nah, let me put this thing on the floor. Let me get to the paint. And guess what? Boop, boop, boop. And he just marched to the free throw line. Whoop-oop, whoop-oop, whoop-oop. So that's how it happened.
Is that all you got?
It's going to happen again tomorrow night.
Yep. I'm going to show you why this game got out of hand early and why it is completely misleading, because my team missed its first 14 shots. And I'm now going to show you just how pathetic my team was, because my team didn't care about this game last night. If we could see, just to drive home the point, just how bad they were, how tentative, how non-aggressive they were to start this game with the first 14 misses, if we could, please. Thank you very much. Here we go. And Bam says no. And
he just missed that one.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's defense. That's defense.
Was it really? That's a bunny, and PJ just left it short. And there's a pretty good shot.
Jerry White got back into it. He didn't give up like he was doing the other night.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what that was.
Don't try to.
I have no idea what Jimmy Butler was thinking, and then that's long and completely out of whack, and that's completely off by Strus, who had a horrendous game and was benched after 14 minutes. And here we go again. Whoops, Strus, he's about to be out
Peyton
of the game.
Pritchard, PP.
Yeah.
Them initial guys in Boston. PP picked his pocket.
Boy, I'm seeing a lot of open shots here. I'm seeing a lot of easy shots. That's a bunny shot, actually, and you missed that. And whoops, that was Vincent from the corner, and that's 14 misses.
Time out.
I saw a lot of open shots. If they fall, maybe we're having a different conversation right now. Maybe this series is over. Because it wasn't like Boston was making a lot of shots. They were just winning by default.
We just had this conversation the other day, and we were talking about the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors, and I told you about all the shots that were missed, that were wide open, and you said that's not your fault. They get paid to do a job, and they miss the shots. Now, all of a sudden, you're making concessions for your Miami Heat because they're missing wide open shots. How does that work? Of course, if the shots are open and they go in, we could have a different discussion. But the shots didn't go in. What about the blocked shots? What about the 11 blocked shots? Could those shots have gone in? What about the steals that the Celtics had? Could those shots have gone in? Now, you was heaping praise when I say, man, Jayson Tatum was just giving the ball away. Jaylen Brown was just giving the ball away. You told me yesterday, how about give the Heat a little credit? The Heat were out there playing. They did take the ball from them. Well, give the Boston Celtics credit because they locked them up. Locked them up, Skip Bayless. 52 points through 3 quarters. And the only reason they felt bad for them, they said, you know what? We don't want to do y'all too bad, so we'll let y'all get a little 30-piece in the 4th quarter. But you know that game was never, ever in doubt. After the first 10 minutes of the ball game, you could have clicked and started watching reruns of a crime mystery because it was over. You know that, and everybody else watching knew that.
Good. I hope they kept watching. I hope they're watching now. I'm not sure they are. All I know is that in Game 1, my Miami Heat, again, at home, went on an amazing run of 62-29 over your invincible Green Machine. 62-29, and they led that game by 20. Obviously, your team came right back in game 2 and led by 34 in that game. And my team came right back on Saturday night and led by 26 early in that game. And then last night, it was all the way up to 32. So we've had wild swings. And I will give you this. The Celtics have crushed more at home because they've won the rebounds at home just phenomenally. It's 68-28 on the boards at home. And those are the boards. And then the free throws are wildly wrong at home for the Celtics. But the Heat shot more free throws slightly at home, and the Heat won the board slightly at home. So it's not like they can't defend home, because they can defend home, and they will. And now your problem is this has become a best 2 out of 3 with 2 of the 3 in Miami, because clearly they had a better regular season record than the Celtics did. So let's go ahead and overreact and crown them. Crown their you-know-whats, as somebody said once upon a time in the National Football League, right? And that's how I felt at the end of the game last night, because I still feel real good about Heat in 7. And I did not have the 6th man of the year last night, Tyler Hero. I have no idea if he'll be able to play in Game 5 back in Miami. But the point is, even when he's played this playoffs, he hasn't really played. He hasn't been the 6th man of the year, because he averaged 21 points a game during the regular season. In the playoffs, he's averaged 14. In the regular season, Tyler Hero shot 40% from 3, which is why he won 6th man of the year. In the playoffs, he's shooting 23% from 3. So do I trust him? No. Have they won without him? Basically, with or without him? Sure, they have. So am I devastated by that? No, I'm not devastated, because they can definitely win without him, because they have been winning without him.
And guess what? They're definitely not going to win with him. And I don't care if you got the 6th man or Juwanna man. You're going home in 6 games. The Boston Celtics are going to... You keep telling me it's the best 2 or 3. No, it's not. It's the best 2 or 2, and the Celtics are going to take both of them. And I'm so confident, I want another 2 cases on it. That's how confident I am this morning. I woke up this morning feeling dangerous.
Really? Okay, Baker. I will take 2 more cases. I don't even know how many we have bet on this, but are we betting?
We got
on just
6 cases bet on this.
6 cases on the outcome of the series. It has to be in 6 for you to win. I've got 7, right? No. I bet you another 2 cases. If they don't win in 6, I lose these 2 cases I just bet you. We still got 4 on the series. I still got 4 that the Boston Celtics is going to win the series, but I want another 2 saying they're going to take it in 6. Okay, good. Okay,
6 for 6.
Like that. Somebody is a runaway train, just like all the Celtic love is today. Go ahead.
Hold on. Wednesday, Friday. You won't like it come next Monday, because we're going to win Wednesday, and they're going to win again on Friday. So when you come in on Monday, you're going to be disappointed. So you won't like that.
A lot is riding on Game 5, right? A whole lot. You just bet 2 cases basically on Game 5, but you've also got to win a Game 6 back in Boston, where the Heat did win a game.
You just bet when your 6th man got a bulky quad, your best player got a bulky knee, and you can't generate a half-court offense unless you turn the ball over, which you don't even get an opportunity to generate half-court offense. So I feel very good with where I am, because I got guys, I got the initials. Look at Peyton Pritchard. He came off the bench and outplayed everybody except Victor Oladipo.
He was the only guy who was making threes. In fact, he made 3 threes, and nobody else even made more than 1 3. Really?
Well, you don't worry about what the Celtics did. You need to worry about what your Heat isn't doing, which is scoring the basketball.
I realize my Heat are too little, they're too slow, they're too weak to contend with the mighty Green Machine. I got it. But I will admit this publicly. I do have one huge concern, and it's with my best player, because I'm not sure what's wrong with my best player, because I'm starting to wonder if it's something beyond just his inflamed knees. I'm starting to wonder if Jimmy Butler's history has caught back up with me and the Heat. He has caused internal friction wherever he has been. As you well know, you can go Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, wherever. He's always had beef with somebody internally. It's just it's how he motivates himself. But sometimes in trying to motivate himself, he demotivates everybody around him. And I'm starting to wonder if that has happened, because I'm still a little skeptical about why he didn't play in the second half on Saturday night when he looked okay in the first half. He wasn't doing that much, but I didn't see him limping on his knees. Spoelstra said after the game, well, he wasn't as explosive as he usually is, and that the doctors said shut him down, that it wasn't Jimmy's call, it was the doctor's call, which seems a little far-fetched in a game that they had, because they were obviously leading at halftime. Those are the kind of games where Jimmy Butler would say, hell with the doctors, I don't care, I'm just going to play because we're going to bring this thing home. So I'm starting to wonder if something transpired at halftime, if there was a clash, another one between Spoelstra and Jimmy, because Jimmy was weird last night. He was often half-hearted on offense. Every once in a while, he'd go aggressive, but it would be one play or one possession out of 6 or 7, because the other times he would dribble into the paint and then just weirdly flip it to somebody on the perimeter without trying to initiate any action internally in the paint, because he never got to the free throw line last night, didn't shoot a single free throw. Remember, what was it, game 1 that he made, what was it, 17 of 8, 17 of 18?
Like 17 to 18, something like that. He missed one free throw.
Okay,
but here,
you shoot 0 last night? Well, something's up with that.
Well, first of all, they only had 3 guys to attempt free throws. So it's not like they were just living in the lane. But here's the thing with Jimmy, and this is why I'm hesitant to say he's not a superstar in the regular season. Skip, how many times have you seen this? He have monster games, and then he comes back and gives you 12. He plays, gives you 28, and the next thing you know, he gives you 14. That's the inconsistency. And I'm not saying that there isn't something wrong with Jimmy Butler's knee, but we've seen this even in the playoff. Even playoff Jimmy will have game. The monster game 5 he had against the Lakers in the finals, and then he comes back and gives you 12 in the closeout game. So we've seen this history of Jimmy Butler throughout the entirety of his career. You just happened to pick the wrong train that night. You about to get left behind, bro.
Really? Well, so he's had 2 bad games. I think he's very due for another 40-point game in Game 5 back in Miami. In Jimmy, I trust. I got this.
JT outduel him. Because I saw JT outduel Giannis.
Good luck.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.